Hello everyone, welcome to your first writing video of the week. Well, we are finished with the note cards for our historical person report, and we're now ready to take our information from our research on our note cards and create an outline. Now before we do that though, I want to stop and I want to spend this day reviewing the format of an outline because it's been a while since we've done one. So today we're just going to look back at how do you create an outline? What are some of the important elements of an outline that you need to remember to include? So up on the board here, this is just the basic format of an outline, and let's just review that. So at the top of your paper, you would have a title for your outline, and in the case of your historical person essay, the title will just be the name of the person. And then you're going to have your main topics represented with Roman numerals. And if you have a Roman numeral 1, you must have a Roman numeral 2. Now, you can have just 2, or you can have 3, 4, 5, however many you need. But just looking at the format here, right up against the margin, the left margin of your paper, you're going to have Roman numeral 1 and a period. That's the format there. And then you're going to have your main topic as the title of Roman numeral 1. And notice that you capitalize the first letter of the first word of your main topic. Now all of the subtopics that go underneath that main topic are indicated by the capital alphabetical letters. And notice that you indent, you capitalize A, capital A for your first subtopic, and it is followed by a period. And then you're going to capitalize the first letter of your subtopic. If you have an A, you must have a B. And notice again that the B is lined up right up under the A. It's indented from the Roman numeral 1. It's capitalized. There's a period that follows that capital letter. And the first letter of the first word of the subtopic, it might be more than one word, that's fine, is capitalized. And again, if you have a C, same thing. You're going to indent. It's all flush, lined up, the A's, the B's, and the C's. You're going to capitalize the C. It's followed by a period, and you're going to capitalize the first letter of the first word of your subtopic. And notice that Roman numeral 2, it's the same format. So I'm going to show you an example outline that comes from the grammar book. You may recognize this from earlier this year when we learned about outlining. In the grammar book, there's a reference section that tells you how to make an outline. You don't need your grammar book. I've got it summarized here on the board. So let me just turn the camera here so you can see the example here. So here's an example outline. Let's say this person wants to write a report on uses for redwood trees. So if they're making an outline of what it is they're going to write, they would start with the title. Again, that's at the top of your paper. Now you're going to use the appropriate capitalization for a title. Always capitalize the first and the last word and any other important words in between. And then Roman numeral 1 here in this particular outline is, again, they're writing a report on the uses for redwood trees. How would you use the wood if you cut down a redwood tree? I'm sure you can think of a lot. There's only 2 here that we're going to go over. So their first main topic that they're going to write about for uses of redwood trees is that you can use the wood for making furniture. Now notice that their main topic here is not a complete sentence. It's just a phrase. It can be a word. It can be a phrase. Sometimes it can be a complete sentence. We're not going to be using complete sentence outlines here for this report. So this is a good example because this is very similar to how we're going to be outlining our historical person report. So Roman numeral 1, period, for making furniture. So you might notice that's a prepositional phrase. So think back to when we said that outlines need to be in what we call parallel form. That means that if Roman numeral 1 is a prepositional phrase or begins with a preposition, then Roman numeral 2 and 3 and 4 and so on, all your other Roman numerals also have to begin with a preposition. have to be a prepositional phrase. That's parallel form. So if Roman numeral 1 is for making furniture, Roman numeral 2 is for firewood. So that's important to remember, parallel form. Okay, so again, we have Roman numeral followed by a period. The very first letter of the very first word of our main topic is capitalized. It's just a phrase. And then underneath for making furniture, here are all the reasons that redwood trees are good for making furniture. So again, the subtopic, A, we're going to indent. We're going to capitalize the letter A, followed by a period, and the very first letter of the very first word of our first subtopic is capitalized. Is attractive. Again, not a complete sentence, not necessary, it's an outline. Okay, if you have an A, you have to have a B. So, letter B, again, is flush right up under A, indented from the Roman numeral 1. It is capitalized. There's a period after it. The first letter of the first word is capitalized. Now, look here. You may have noticed the subtopics also have to be in parallel form. So, for this particular set of subtopics, they all begin with the linking verb is attractive, is lightweight, is easily worked. So that's in parallel form. You want to make sure you do that as well. And letter C, again, is indented, capitalized, period, capitalize the first letter of the first word of that subtopic. Okay, and the second Roman numeral is pretty self-explanatory. Again, you have Roman numeral 2 followed by a period. First letter of the first word capitalized. It's in parallel form with Roman numeral 1 for firewood. And then these are the reasons, A and B are the reasons that redwood trees are good for firewood. So again, you're going to indent for the subtopic for Roman numeral 2. Notice that my A's, B's, and C's are all lined up in every Roman numeral. So the first subtopic is burns slowly. Again, you have your capital letter A followed by a period, capitalize the first letter of the first word. This is a verb, burns slowly. So B should start with a verb as well to be in parallel form. Notice that this form, right here they're starting with verbs too. It's a different type of verb. But these should be parallel and these should be parallel and the main topic should be parallel. Okay, B, if you have an A, you have to have a B. Capitalize your B followed by a period. Capitalize the first letter of the first word. Now, it may be that that's all I have to say about the reasons that redwood trees are good for firewood. I don't have to have a C. It's not necessary. I could then move on into Roman numeral 3 if I wanted to. Just because I have A, B, and C here doesn't mean I have to have A, B, and C here. The rule is, if I have an A, I have to have a B. If I have an A, I have to have a B. If I have a 1, I have to have a 2. Okay, so that was a review of the format of an outline. Now let me tell you what you're going to be doing for homework. I just want you to stop and take a moment today to just practice that outline format before you tackle your historical person information and try to create an outline from that. Let's just get back to just practicing all of these things, about an outline. So I have uploaded a practice sheet where all of the information that you are to outline is already given to you in a box at the bottom of the page. Your job is it says 1, 2, and 3. There are 3 main topics from down here, and this is about, I guess, the parts of a tree. So you're going to put in your main topics as Roman numerals, and then your subtopics as A, B, and C. So complete this using the correct outline format, and then when you're finished and you've double-checked everything, you've made sure that you've included all the capital letters, periods, you've indented correctly, then go ahead and check yours against the key that I have in RenWeb. Now I'm going to pause the video quickly because I'd like to erase my board and I'd like to make just a list of those main things for you to remember when you get ready to outline this information on this page. Okay, here are some simple outlining rules that I wanted to remind you of before you create your practice outline today, and then when you get ready to create your historical person outline later this week. Okay, here are just 5 really quick, simple rules. Number 1, make sure you write the title of your outline at the top of your paper. Now, in the practice, on the practice sheet that I'm going to have you complete today, unfortunately, this is a worksheet and there's no spot for the title. I mean, it tells you what the title is, but they don't give you a spot to write it. So, there's an exception with today's worksheet. But when you are writing your own outline, you should always remember that the title goes at the top. And the title of your historical person essay, of course, is your historical person. Number 2, make sure you use Roman numerals for your main topics. If you have a 1, Roman numeral 1, you have to have a Roman numeral 2. Number 3, use a capital letter for the first word in your main topics and your subtopics. Those all have to begin, the first letter of the first word has to begin with a capital letter. Number 4, place a period after each Roman numeral and capital letter. That's just the correct outline punctuation format. And then number 5, make sure that you indent your subtopics evenly. That would be your A, your B, your C, and so on. They should all be indented and lined up evenly. All right, so now you are ready to practice creating an outline again. So if you could download, print, if you can, the sheet on outlining. Again, you're going to be creating an outline based on the parts of a tree. So use the information in the box and follow the format to have Roman numeral 1, A, B, and so on for all of that information. When you are finished and you have proofread it and made sure that you've indented properly, you've capitalized, you've placed periods where they need to be placed, then go back and check your work on the key that I've uploaded to RenWeb and make any corrections necessary, because like I said, it's important for you to refamiliarize yourself with outlining, the format, all of the rules, how to punctuate it correctly, because later on this week you're going to be creating an outline for the information that you've researched for your historical person. Okay, and we'll meet again later to go over that later this week.